Hi everyone, welcome to the talk stage. Now we have the next session here. It's about navigating body, mind, and spirit in 20s, 30s, and 40s with Leanne, myself, Candice, and Giselle. So Leanne is a digital nomad and a corporate. Leanne is a digital nomad, and Giselle is a corporate leader, and they're going to share the unique stories, challenges, and aspirations. And we're going to share all of our journeys and insights in our journeys in 20s, 30s, and 40s. And this is for you to explore the keys to unlocking your full potential and leading a fulfilling life by nurturing physical health, fostering growth, and cultivating spiritual well-being. And I just very quickly, I want to mention that this opportunity is sponsored by Zoop, the first AI powered social commerce app, enabling everyone to look better, be stronger, and live longer by inspiring, connecting, and incentivizing all the key stakeholders in the wellness community, including passionate users, verified health experts, and curated product vendors. And we're going to be launching our social commerce app next month. And at this talk stage, we want to give you a sense of what type of discussions we want to bring on the platform. And we hope that you're going to enjoy it. And if you're interested to know more, please come talk to us at booth C27 and C29. And so, just very quickly, I want to give you a little bit of introduction for my two beloved friends here sitting next to me. First, we have Leanne. And Leanne is a content creator. You're going to see her on IG a lot if you follow her. And she's also a podcast host for Beyond the Label podcast. And Giselle, she's a seasoned lifestyle management executive with an exceptional people skill set, currently leading quintessentially team for APAC as their GM. So I just really want to start this whole conversation by, starting from the youngest of the three of us. It's Leanne in her 20s. And she's been traveling a lot, and I haven't even had the time to catch up with her yet. And I really want to know, so how has your travels been? And now that you're finally here back in Hong Kong, and so glad you're here so you can join the session. Are you working during your travel, and how do you make money? And are you making any money when you're traveling?
Hi everyone. So thank you so much for having me here today. I'm so excited to have this conversation with Candice and Giselle. And just to answer your first question, I think there's a lot of misconception around the term digital nomad, and especially on social media, it can really feel like, people who are just like traveling and like living life and doing all these fancy things. And I actually read it somewhere that describes my situation very well, is that digital nomad is just another term for working a full-time job remotely. So I am doing content creation, I'm doing my podcast. I've also recently started to do like mindfulness workshops and coaching, so all in the wellness space for me right now.
Very, very nice. So just out of curiosity, does your earnings from, let's say, content management and all of this actually come from your full-time job, or actually it derives from your, like, let's say, IG exposure?
I think I've been very lucky on this journey of traveling because I've met really great people along the way who's provided me with amazing opportunities, and just people who's been really supportive of my content. I think that's honestly how most content creators continue with this lifestyle and continue in this industry. It's just people who believe in us and just like give us the freedom and flexibility to do what we want to do.
And I've been following you, as a friend for quite some time. And on IG, you live such a glamorous life, traveling everywhere. But tell us a little bit about what's underneath it. What's really happening behind the camera?
So I recently had this conversation with Giselle, and I think I've been trying to find a way to like stay grounded mostly throughout my travels, through just the just flying can be very hectic and can be very ungrounded. And on social media, you tend to compare yourself to these people living all these like glamorous lives and doing all these things, and you feel FOMO. So the question that I was asking Giselle was actually, how do you stay grounded in a hyper luxury environment with all these people surrounding you who might not have these values that we carry, to stay grounded, to stay humble. So maybe Giselle can also answer this.
Yeah, I think it's very important to have a certain practice because it's very easy to be swayed away, I feel. So normally I will literally just say, when you know yourself more, when you love yourself more, and you don't need to have any approval from the outside world, I think that's set you in a very good ground. Yeah.
Thank you. And what is your, you mentioned a little bit about that you're building your mindfulness coaching practice right now, and focusing a lot more of your time on this. Can you tell us a little bit about your mindfulness spiritual practice? Is it daily, or do you, is it already a habit, or is it something that you're still working towards, or just please share.
Well, I mean, for me, mindfulness is a continuous journey. And right now, I think the best practice that I give to myself is actually just to be compassionate and to accept that however I feel the day, I don't criticize myself, I don't judge myself. I used to, have like 1, 2, 3 steps of, I need to like journal, I need to do all these like meditation. And I still do all those things. I still do everything that, like a guru would suggest. But for me, I think it's just being easy to my body, to my mind, and just letting myself flow to feel and be whatever I want to be that day. Yeah.
That's beautiful, actually. I think that's so beautiful when you say compassion. It's a very big word, right? Compassion to yourself, to the others, and just let the feeling be. I think that's how the whole mindfulness meditation is all about, right? It's not to say, hey, I'm going to sit down here 30 minutes, I'm not talking, not having any thoughts. It's very much to have the compassion to yourself, to the feeling, and let it pass by. And it will pass by anyhow. So it's beautiful.
I mean, this question probably it's applicable to both of you, because I'm sure all of our mindfulness and spiritual practice have grown, over time. And has it always been that way, or is there any change, or like what inspired your changes to where you are right now, for example?
Well, I want to know all of our answers too after this, but it's been such a long journey. And actually, on the way over, me and Giselle were talking about how we also had like a panel talk like 5 years, 3, 4, 5 years ago.
Has it been that long? Yeah.
Yeah, and
Right.
I think all of us have grown so much, and we're at such different stage in our
Totally.
life right now. And I feel like just now Giselle asked me, like, how do I feel about this year? And I answered that I feel like I'm starting to step into embodiment, to like put my little toe into the water and to accept that this is who I am, and to slowly trust that this is the path that I'm meant to be on. What about you? Because I know you also have so many changes with like this new company and your baby.
I feel like life just pulls you in all different ways. Situations change all the time, circumstances, and that's just life, right? Life just keeps throwing different situations at you. And I think it's the constant reminder to pull yourself back in and reminding yourself who you truly are, and setting little goals as well is very important. I think when I've lost my meditation practice for a while, actually. When I first had my child, I feel like I didn't have the time, and the moment I wake up, I get distracted by my child, and by the time that I go to sleep, I just want to go to sleep. And just recently, after I started this new business and creating Zoop, that's when I tell myself, if I'm starting a wellness company, I'm trying to spread this energy outwards and inspiring other people to get on board on this health and wellness journey. I need to be very well myself first in order to create something that has an exponential effect on other people. And that's when I start reminding and making rooms in my life for these small adjustments. For example, I say, okay, now that when I wake up, before I go out and face the world, that's the time I dedicate for myself. And even if it just starts with, like, let's say 10 minutes and slowly grow up to 20 minutes and then 30 minutes and 40 minutes. And when I really, really enjoy it, this is the 40 minutes of my own, like, the most enjoyable 40 minutes of my day, basically. And it didn't become a burden anymore. So it's taking small steps to achieve whatever we can achieve to fit our busy life schedule and to keep reminding ourselves what our true intentions are. So I think that's kind of what and be agile at different life stages as well. I think that's very important, and be easy on ourselves. Yeah. What about you, Giselle?
I like it when we talk about, it's been half decades in our last chat, and we were both like, oh wow, it is a half decade. So I tried to reflect back to the last chat that we had at the Central, and I must say, having the time for yourself is so important. For instance, I will dedicate 2 hours morning for myself, and I know my morning is so important, and I eat so much more healthier. I cut down significant carbs, sugar, dairy and gluten, and somehow the body and the mind are loving each other so much more. So, and I don't get sick so easily nowadays. So I think it's remarkable when we allow that time for our body, mind, and spirit to connect to each other. A miracle thing will happen. So yeah, it was a lot of growth. Not only that, I think the more about to know the self so much more. Then you talk about embodiment, and I talk about the death and rebirth. I feel like just this year itself, there's a lot of letting go, and there's a lot of goodbye, and if you use a metaphor, it's like a death and rebirth. So the rebirth is beautiful, but it requires some struggle, and I think the struggle is also important to enable to have the rebirth happening. Yeah.
Oh, I love the whole rebirthing way. We do get second chances. And Giselle, I want to tell the audience a little bit about, how your journey, you always, every time I speak to you, you always have a recent travel experience on a spiritual journey that you can share with us, and you always keep us updated to the next journey that you're embarking on. So you always have a past and future to tell us about, to get us excited about what you're going through. So, and I know that you meet a lot. You actually travel the world to meet a lot of different masters to learn, mindfulness and spiritual practice. And can you share with us a little bit about all your findings and basically, let us have a crash course.
I guess master is where I call it a teacher. The teacher could be anyone that I see around, whatever I see. I think the most recent one I went to Chiang Mai. I went to a silent retreat. So I didn't talk for a good 5 days, except with my spiritual director, who happened to be an 82 years old priest. So this priest was so sweet and so amazing. He said, so what's going on? I said, well, life is okay. I read a lot of Bible and all that. And I said, And he said to me something really awesome, which I would love to share. He said, well, it seems like your kidney and your liver is functioning really well. And I'm like, wow, that was really true. Because what he said is very deep, actually. Our kidney and liver functioning without our interruption. It was just basically keeping whatever good for our body and letting go whatever is not good for our body. It's the same with the mind. So the whole silent retreat was really, really remarkable. And I see, I guess, so much more connected and comfortable with myself. I don't use any phone. And I read a lot of books. I walk a lot, and that space, when you mentioned about the space and the time for yourself, I literally get like 5 days just for myself and no one else. So yeah, upcoming, I'm going to London also to do a coaching course. So I don't know, somehow this is something like this just really, really drive me very energetically. they're so effortless. I know just I'll do it. Instead of, oh yeah, it's sort of effort and whatnot, it's very effortless. Yeah. I guess when you get to have the result, because I feel much more happier, much more livelier, much more younger, although I'm like, 40s here. But yeah, I feel really, really good in general. Yeah.
So how would you? I know when you go on these type of retreats and talking to masters, is the whole experience is very different than coming back to your real life, being in a corporate job, being a GM of quintessentially. How do you switch your mindset, and adapt to and bring whatever you learn into real life and keep that within you?
I meditate a lot. I also do a journal. So one of the things that I found it really, really helpful is I will write down 6 or 7 words that I want to embody. I'll say, this being live abundantly and gracefully. I literally say it out loud. So I set a very good tone for my day, like you mentioned about intention. I think second is when you have changed your mindset, you are changed. So the outside world can only kind of, flow it a little bit, but fundamentally we are all love. So that's something that no one can take it away.
That's beautiful, because that's my personal struggle. Back then I before I had children, I get to travel a lot and I get to go on retreats. I go learn my yoga teaching and find Reiki masters to learn from and do all of these. But every time I come back to Hong Kong, I feel like it's so hard to keep that part of myself, whatever I become, and sustain that. And that was my biggest hardship. And it's amazing that you can sustain it and keep it even within your work life. And I feel like that's
it comes with age.
So I guess that's learning that with age. What about you, Leanne?
I personally struggled with this a lot after coming back, being in Europe in 3 months, like coming back to Hong Kong. I think for me, one important thing is actually just to set boundaries, just to realize that I'm not the same person I was before, and it's okay if my experiences, my traveling have changed me, and it's okay to accept that I'm this new person who might not enjoy so much, like clubbing, drinking, for example, and just setting those boundaries and letting people around me know that I'm now comfortable with doing so and so, and my real friends will always respect me.
Actually, it leads me to my next question, because a lot of times when the three of us come together, we can talk about all things like spiritual and things that people don't usually talk about, and we laugh about it, right? And we say that, if anyone is listening to our conversation, they probably think we're crazy. So, how would you, even especially for you, you had an image on social media, and you have an image to, as a content creator for some fashion, luxury fashion publishments as well. How do you, do you have to adapt yourself, or you make your environment adapt to you, basically?
I had a major identity crisis for years. And honestly, it's still a journey that I'm learning to. It's just basically different parts of me. Like, I can be spiritual, I can go and be like at a temple and not wear makeup for a week. But I can also go to like a luxury fashion event and dress up and take like nice IG photos. And I think I've learned to not judge myself that, when you're this, you cannot be that. I
completely agree.
Yeah, we're everything that we decide to be, and that's it.
I actually want to add to that as well, because sometimes I guess as a entrepreneur in the wellness space, health and wellness space, I think I was so scared of being judged if I were seen, at a bar, having a drink, and I'm like, I cannot be seen in this place because I'm this I've run this clinic before, and I'm advocating health and wellness, and I realized that it's actually these stereotypes, pressure that we put on ourselves, and at the end of the day, we are real people living in the city, and we're just trying to learn to learn to be the best ways to be our best selves. And so I completely agree with that. How about Giselle? How do you, I know when you are, I know that you are a very spiritual person. So when you talk to your staff, I know that maybe some are younger and living in their different lives and being in their different mentality. How do you speak to them so that they understand you, or how do you get in alignment with them?
I get these questions quite often, even though I talk to corporate company. I guess I talk to them as a human level. I'm literally really enjoying myself right now, looking to Liam's father taking pictures. It's the highlight of the day for the talk. I'm not joking. It's so sweet looking at him, have so much love and interest on our talk, and the love to the daughter. Honestly, for that, I think it nailed it. It really nailed it. I don't care about how noisy behind the scene is. It's just one person who have so much love, and it's so beautiful. So when you touch that human level, then they get you. They know that you are meaning it, you know? So I don't get distracted by the noise behind me or the big, lovely gentlemen who have this big pack, figures. And then I look into Uncle, I'm like, oh my God, Uncle is so sweet. Like, it's a similar principle. When you talk to your staff or people, even my client, they're all very high net worth, I really see them as a human being. I don't care how much power they have. It's about the connection with that person. Yes, gentlemen, I'm talking about you. You have a really nice body. I say I got distracted, and then I went back to Uncle. I hope I answered your question.
Yes. No, but I love that. Giselle always has the ability to spot the beauty of that moment. She always had, at every place that we go, in every setting, she always finds something very beautiful to really focus on. And always that's kind of always a reminder for me to be like, oh, now, I was on stage and I was just kind of like reading my notes and, caring about what I need to say next. And she just looking out and actually enjoying the beauty of the audience now.
I think it's a present. I think it's important to be really present, no matter what you do. Be it taking the pictures, be it I'm drinking my coffee, being I'm looking at the person in the eyes, being like looking into the camera, like really present. That's all life is all about. If you ask me what enlighten means, that I'm literally enlightening to living in the moment and enjoy every single moment. No matter I'm going to having a coffee or looking to the person in the eyes, it was that moment, So when I had dinner, I literally do not play with my phone. So that all come to it. And also some sort of like things that you do really for yourself and for the connection to the others. It's just, you've been really present and people can feel that energy. Yeah. And I think that's say a lot.
That's beautiful. Is that I know that you manage people really well. I've even spoken to your previous team. That was years ago. I'm not familiar with your current team right now, but they all loved working with you.
I just need to add to this. I had a meeting with her team a few weeks ago, and this girl literally said she gets excited on Sundays. I've never heard anyone in Hong Kong say that they're excited on Sundays to look forward to go to work on Monday. And it's because of Giselle and how she creates the team and the energy that she brings to the team. Like, it's just so inspiring.
That's amazing. Teach us, how do you get there? How do you become so good at managing people?
Well, I must say we all have our strength. People's skill set is my strength. I think we all have that. I think it's just more about you really respect the other person. Not that to the point that you spoil them. If they're not doing right, then you give them some little lessons, but then you're literally genuinely interested about that person. I'm literally very interested about people, like to your dad, for instance. I'm literally very interested about him. So, example, right? So when you're very interested about them, you don't just have your ego talking. You connect with them in a much deeper level, and that works really well. I feel. Yeah, the respect.
Beautiful. Yeah, thank you. I definitely have a lot to learn from you more, and that's why I always love our catch up. I'm always looking forward to our catch up because I feel like I have so much to learn from Leanne and Giselle, and I'm very curious to know, and I guess I'll share myself as well. Leanne, in going back to our topic, what are your current priorities right now in your 20s?
I honestly don't really feel like I'm a person in my 20s.
You have a very old soul.
um,
We always joke about it.
we do. Like, I feel so comfortable just like talking with you guys, and a lot of my closest friends are a lot older than me. But I feel like for me right now, I think it's just learning to be more kind to myself, because we see so many unkind things in the world, and for us, like, I think we have the responsibility to really treat ourselves as the priority, including like inner peace. I think inner peace is a really big one. Something that a really wise person told me is that anything that costs your inner peace is not worth it. Like any job, any relationship, any friendship, it costs you distress. Distress to your soul. It's just not worth it.
Just to build on that, what is giving you the most inner peace right now?
I think actually what Giselle mentioned too, that just being present, being grateful, practicing gratitude, and just enjoying the little things in life. Yeah. I know it sounds so cliche, but it's so true.
Sometimes it's just as simple as that, right? I think that's we all aim to get there, but it's all the pursuit of happiness, right? And it actually all boils down to those simple rules. How about Giselle? What are your current priorities right now?
My priority is just be happy, just be alive, be happy. I'm just very fascinating the guy behind us, like training their body big time. I bet they must train like 10 hours at a minimum per week. I don't know. So meanwhile, we are talking about mindfulness. This is completely yin and yang opposite, right? But they're both equally important, I believe. It's just like masculine and feminine. So if this both will be able to complement each other, that will be absolutely awesome. So I think my priority is very much on to really enjoying this body, this life. Therefore, I can give so much more out to people around me. It could be even just like, uncle, look at him, he's so happy. Even this talk just makes him one person happy. We are winning, So I think sometimes we just kind of forgetting to count the blessing. Yeah. So.
That's great. How do you balance your work and personal life?
For some fantastic reason, I don't take my work as serious as before. Not that I don't care, I care so much more because, put it this way, I don't think too much about work, I just do it. I use my energy to really producing result instead of thinking what I should do. I'm thinking what I should do versus I'm literally doing it. It's a totally different ballgame. So back then, I used to be thinking what I should do, planning. Now I'll be doing a quick plan, but I'm doing it. Like what we did in this talk, you will talk about, let's plan and this and that. I'm like, okay, we can do planning, but I'm so sure by the time that we in the stage, things will change. So it was very much on the agile. We talk about agile, you talk about the whole agility. I think it's very much on the world is changing so quickly. So the priority is very much on whatever comes to the way, changes, I'm just going to accept it with grace. And what impact can I make to the world? I think it's something that I would love to explore next year.
Do you have any teaser to what type of impact you want to make in the world and to share with the audience right now?
Teaser. I think if you're going to ask me what do I wanted to do, I want to write a book. And I want to do a proper TED Talk to share. But again, the content, I'm not sure. I don't know what content there will be yet. It will come. I think that's why I wanted to go to those retreat and workshops, just to really get to know a bit more. I'm very, very blessed to have a lot of people, friends like you, even though I'm in the center of the very high net worth business. But I feel I love my job so much. I mean, to the point that this is a generation, I'm in the 40. I think I'm living my best life right now. I love my job.
It's beautiful.
I mean, honestly, I cannot say that I love my job throughout my previous job. I mean, I don't hate them, But to the point that I committed and say I love it. And I love being 40s. Being 40s is awesome, man. It's really awesome being a 40s.
I can't wait.
Yeah, you're such an inspiration because there's a lot of, like on social media or basically cultural pressure. There's a lot of fear. It drives a lot of fear for you. Like, oh yeah, your age is not turning back. You have to anti-age. You have to remove your wrinkles. You have to dress younger. You have to be this, be that. And just listening to you, just basically embracing 40 and thinking that this is the best time of your life is very encouraging. It's like, okay, there's nothing to fear about because as long as you're happy within yourself, you can fully embrace that and there's nothing to be scared of.
I can give you one more nugget. So my parameter is very much on if I feel there is an anger, there's a jealousy, and there's a greed coming in my thoughts, I will not entertain it. So this is my parameter. So any thought comes in, is involving these three elements, I will not take it serious. I'm going to go out and do my massage or buying things or whatnot. So anything to do with jealousy, greed, and anger, then I will not believe in it. Yeah. Yes.
Jealousy, greed, and anger.
You
Those
talk,
are the
you talk
three.
about you talk about expectations of people you have to do wrinkleless and all that. It's also part of them. It's also part of either jealousy or either you being afraid, right? So I think yeah.
Yeah, that's what they say. A lot of the wrinkles, even on our face, it represent different negative emotions. So, but we all live in a city. These emotions will come by, and it's just how we choose to address them, right? Do we choose to, focus on it, or do we just choose to diffuse it, right? And it's very I completely agree.
I told Leanne this morning. I said, I looked into the mirror this morning. When I looked into the mirror, I thought, oh my God, you look so beautiful. And then she was like, yeah, you do look beautiful. I know, but the fact that I see it myself and I tell myself in the mirror is so powerful. Not like doing it as, oh my God, you're so beautiful because I wanted to train my brain. No, it wasn't that. I genuinely really happy to see myself and it's so beautiful.
That's amazing. What are, just building on that, can you give us some practical tips, to practice every day to make us more happier, to be more centered, and to make us love our life more?
I think I would think there's a two-part. One part is your physical body is important because we're living in this machine. So you eat healthy, you go to sleep earlier, those type of things. Like really know your food. You get to know your food and you get to know your, good healthy. Second part I see as a mind, whereas I would always including a breathing work. I found a meditation, or some people they believe in a certain religious, prayer is also works really well. So I think that helps a lot to really look back to actually, you know what, my life is not too bad at the end of the day. It could be looks absolutely horrible, but then it's not, right? So and also I try to do a lot of a bedroom hygiene and also phone hygiene. So let's say I wouldn't read news more than 5 minutes of the day. I don't. Because if I want to be upset for the rest of my day, I want to read news for 15 minutes. I'll be like, man, there's a war going on around the world. So I don't. I'm not that I don't empathize, I do. But I don't want to take on those negative energy because it doesn't serve the world. So at nighttime, I don't take my phone into the bedroom. My bedroom is a sacred place. It's absolutely sacred for my sleep. So yeah, there are two parts. One is like, the body, make sure that you look after the body, and second, look after the mind. I think people look after the body really well. That's why the guy's doing the training, right? So, I mean, look after the mind is so cliche, intangible. What do you mean like looking after the mind? Honestly, everything comes from the mind. Yeah. I don't have the right mindset to go and train like them, therefore I'm sitting here right now. It's not about the mind, right? Uncle go all the way here, to see you as talking. It's also the mind. So I think it's a mind, start with the mind.
That's beautiful. What about Leanne? What are some of your tips that you want to share with people?
I mean, just adding on what Giselle said, like everything that she said, and I think for me, there's a lot of things that you cannot control in life, and sometimes that can be very triggering. And at those moments, we might feel very helpless. So Even just, I was just sharing the other day, yeah, like being in Hong Kong, the city is so busy. Like there's so many noise, there's so many people, and these are things that you cannot change. But what you can do is to first, like find the little things, like what we said, that you appreciate in the day, and actually making those things happen. I always suggest to my friends who have like a terrible boss or have like a terrible work environment, just go get a coffee. Just do one thing in the day that makes you happy, that you look forward in the morning. Like, I'm so excited to get this coffee. I'm so excited to have this walk after my job, and just have one thing that you enjoy and that can really change your day.
I think that the happiness effects will ripple down throughout the day, right? And so, Leanne, what do you think? What are your goals in the next 10 years or so?
Honestly, I think starting from this year, my word has been flow and trust. And I used to be someone who I tried to plan ahead a lot. And like we all know, life does not happen according to the way we plan. So now that I decided to really just trust the universe, trust myself, trust opportunities, not to say not to plan anything, but have goals in mind, but not stress about it, not like what Giselle said, not think about it, but actually do it, like embody it. Like I want to go have this conversation, just do it. I want to go travel, do it, and do all the things that will lead me slowly by slowly to the person that I want to become.
And there's one more question that just kind of popped up in my head, and I think it would be very beneficial for people in this day and age to learn from you. Is that every day people get a lot of negative information from social media. How do you remind these people to use social media to their strength instead of feeding their negative emotions? How would you do that? What are your tips? Just being a content creator on IG, scrolling around all of this information, look at all of these unrealistic, body image or expectations of the society, but still be as positive as you can be and remove all the negative emotions.
Well, social media hygiene is so real, and I think as a content creator, I see it as a world. Like it's actually a world that we step into with real people, with real things happening on social media. And just like in real life, you have to set your boundaries, you have to cut your ties, you can unfollow people, you can mute them, you can selectively choose what type of content you consume, because it is online, but it's still energy. It's a really strong energy exchange where you see someone post something negative and you absorb it. And we do those things so subconsciously that it's just so...
That's very true.
Yeah.
I never thought that I was going to unfollow people that, I think is feeding my negative information, but I think I will give myself permission to do that.
Exactly, and it's okay. It's okay to like put yourself first and put your peace of mind first,
Yeah, totally. And Giselle, what advice would you give to your younger self, let's say?
My younger self.
Like, let's say if you're talking to your 20s self.
Okay. So I would say trust yourself, but don't trust yourself. Okay, let me explain. You trust yourself that everything is going to be all right. Yeah. Everything is going to be all right. You don't trust yourself thinking, actually, I need to do this right now, or acting impulsively. So, yeah, I would literally have that sort of discernment to my young self. Because when I was much younger, during your age, I am super mega ambitious. I want to do this thing. I set a certain time frame. And when the thing doesn't happen, I get really frustrated. I'm like, what have I done wrong? What's going on? There's lots of anxiety going on. But actually, it's for a better reason that thing that might happen. Because if you're going to ask me, by 25 years old, do I see myself living in this life right now? I don't, because my little brain is so tiny. The universe is so big, There's so many things, the suns rise and set without our interruption. So, humble ourselves and don't think ourselves too high, but at the same time, trust, have faith.
Thank you so much, Giselle. I think so. That's I think I'm going to open this up to the audience below. Is there any questions, maybe for? Yeah. Is there any questions for me or Giselle or Leanne from the audience? Hi.
Hello. Thank you for the positivity and everything. So
Thank
just
you.
now, you all shared that you would go to some retreat camps and like these kind of experiences. Can you share more about it? And also, I want to know like how the camps change your thoughts towards your life, and how can you bring the experiences back to like this vibrant city, and how it influenced your friends and families around you.
Right, you're asking about the retreat, right?
Yeah,
The workshop. You want to hear more on the spiritual side, or more on the corporate side? Either. Okay. I found it really. They both actually go hands by hand. So when you're ready, the teacher will come. Did you hear it praised before? So every time that I go for those retreats, not that I go and find it, because I know I want to do something. I don't know what it is. So I end up going to, for instance, silent retreat, for instance, like a coaching workshop. And for instance, I hosted a workshop with my mentor when he was in Hong Kong. We have 8 female. It was remarkable how much insight and wisdom has been shared. And a lot of practice also in between, the breathing work and the self-value and all of that cover. So I think those are super mega valuable. Actually, if I have advice for the government, we should include that in the curriculum. I don't think the kids is prepared to face the world. I don't think so. I think they're just so into the box, right? So those questions that you just asked. So how do you deal with life and the challenges and etc. I think it's good for us to take our time off, couple of days, 3-5 days, and then just really dive into you dealing with yourself, your own emotion. Yeah.
I also want to just add on to that going traveling and going to retreats, I went on a actually life-changing retreat earlier this year in Bali, and what was life-changing was the people that I met, and knowing that there are so many different possible ways to live life outside of what we know from Hong Kong, and like what happiness and success means to them is so different from what we're learned to believe in. I think that was like literally so life-changing for me, and to just trust that I can also have that for myself.
You are such an inspiration. I'm thinking of, going to live in Japan for 6 months, for instance. So it was just, beautiful. Both of you are such an inspiration, When I was in your age, I'm still struggling big time how to, climb the corporate ladder, So.
And I think one of the questions that the audience asks is also, how do you influence the people around you?
Very important question. I'm glad we covered this before we finish up. How do we influence people? You cannot give what you don't have, first of all. So you must have the love, the compassion for yourself and for people. And I guess when I could be someone who, this is not right, that's not right, what kind of impact you're going to give, right? So let's say if you're going to Starbucks, the person will say, oh, enjoy it, versus someone will say, take it away. So we're all making an impact anyhow. I think it's all come from inside out. That's why having the proper look after the body and mind and spirit is so, so important to do that. So
I'm just going to quickly add to that, because I have, my husband is completely non-spiritual, and we have their very different conversations. And at one point of life, I think we talked about this too, it's that sometimes we expect our partners to be on the same level as we are when we talk about these topics, just because we're interested in it. But at the same time, I think I did talk to a couple mentors, and we share amongst friends as well that spirituality can come up in very different ways. And we cannot just expect that, just because that person talk about all of these woohoo stuff, then they're on the same level as you are. And also, if you really want to introduce this philosophy to other people, and how to be mindful, how to be happy, how to be positive, you definitely do need to start with yourself. And this effect is going to ripple out to people, because when people can see what you have done for yourself, it's going to inspire naturally without having to actively say it out loud. And at a certain point, I even like just am trying to influence my husband to embark on a healthier life, more active life. At one point, I realized I just got to do it, and I just got to show him that my meditation is doing these type of benefits in my life, and he sees the benefit, and then I can say, if you want to, I invite you to join me, or with like walking, even with working out, instead of back then, I would actually push him and say, why are you not doing this? Why are you spending your time like this? Now I just say, well, whenever you're ready, you can join me. And then after he sees the positive effect, then he can slowly be influenced. And I think, and it's really up to that person at the end of the day if he's ready or not.
I think it's holding space. We talk about holding space the other time. Sometimes it's not about you need to give advice, it's to hold the space for the person.
I think I think the time is getting close to ending, and that's going to wrap up our session here. And thank you so much for your attention, and thanks for joining, and thank you, Leanne's dad, for taking pictures for us as well. Very sweet.
Highlight of the day, Uncle. You're the highlight of the day.
Thank you so much. And
Thank
thanks,
you.
Giselle and Leanne.